So I think it's clear that NFV is the direction that all of the major telecommunications companies want to go. It's a huge change for anyone who's supplying either hardware or software into the industry. But if it's delivered correctly, it will give the industry enormous agility and hopefully very significant cost savings going forward. The question, of course, about openness applies all the way through the chain. And so at Canonical, we're helping companies adopt open platforms, both in terms of hardware and operating system hypervisors, all the way up through to our open source service orchestration tool, which is Juju. Collaboration has always been important in the telecoms industry, but what we're now seeing is that the nexus of that collaboration is shifting right into some of the most exciting open source software projects on the planet. So, for example, we're working with a number of leading telcos and service providers in the OpenStack community right now to define what does it mean to have carrier-grade OpenStack. How do we make OpenStack itself a platform for network function virtualization, which supports IPv6, which has the network and throughput characteristics that a carrier expects from a platform. NFV is going to be a 10 to 15 year arc in terms of beginning to end of seeing its value creation in the industry. Right now, there are some hard decisions about which platforms to base NFV on, and I think we can then see the conversation move very quickly to service orchestration and look at service chaining, how we support standards like Tosca and their relevance in the telecoms industry. So service orchestration will be important, and then carrier-grade OpenStack is going to be important, and from there we can then look at layering on EPC, IMS, and other network functions. So the major threat to telecommunications providers right now is that they are facing enormous rising costs in providing the bandwidth that modern consumers and enterprises expect. There will be a huge growth in machine-to-machine traffic based on the Internet of Things, and there are massive opportunities there to grasp, but it requires that telecommunications companies adopt a vastly more rapid pace of innovation, that they match the speed of software development and deployment that we see in Silicon Valley, and they have the same leanness and agility that their new competitors are bringing to the market. So lots of opportunity in terms of growth, but some very significant challenges, because the type of player that telecommunications companies are now competing with is not each other. It's not the incumbent in their market. It's a startup in the valley that's focused on one specific product and is moving very, very quickly. And we're very focused on trying to give telecommunications companies the tools and the platforms which will allow them to operate as leanly and as agilely as those startups. So the major touch points between Canonical, Ubuntu and telecommunications companies are around OpenStack right now, and we're doing work with over 30 telecommunications companies globally around OpenStack. Those are divided into 3 areas, so we'll be helping them build private clouds for internal development, public infrastructure as a service offerings, and then actually starting network function virtualization proof of concepts. We are public with our work with AT&T, with Deutsche Telekom, NTT, and there are many other telecommunications companies that we're working with in the background.